What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the UI Buzz podcast, or if you're watching the video version, welcome to the video version. This is one where I thought it's going to be just as good to show you, if not better to show you, than to just talk about it in the audio version. If you're interested and you're watching the video and you're interested in listening to the podcast, there's a link below, and vice versa. If you are interested in the video version and you're listening to the podcast, there is also a link below for that. What are we talking about in this episode? So in this episode, I want to go through 4 plugins or packages, as they call them, that I use with every Unity project I work on. So we're going to get right into these. The number one that I use, I already have all 4 of them installed here, but I want to show you here. If you're watching the video, you're going to benefit more from this greatly. For the audio version, I'm going to try and explain it the best I can. I strongly urge checking out the video as well. So the first package I use is FlowCanvas. Now, what does FlowCanvas do? A lot is the answer to that. If you are familiar with other engines like Unreal Engine, where it has what they call the blueprints, this is all about visual scripting. So to do this, I need to set a couple of things up here so you can understand what's going on. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to do something very simple here, right? I'm just going to create, it really doesn't matter. This is just for me showing you how this works. I'm just going to create a canvas here, right? And I'm just going to focus on the canvas in 2D, and there it is, right? So empty canvas on the screen. You're not missing anything here on the audio version. I'm just going to add a button because I want to show you how this hooks in with everything. So we just got a button here, right? I just got to import the TMP essentials. No packages so far. There we go. Okay, so I've got a button on the screen here. Now, yes, I can write C# code and add scripts and everything else, but I find it way more productive to handle a lot of everyday kind of scripting situations visually. And to do that, I use FlowCanvas. So all I need to do is I'm just going to add the component here. I just select FlowCanvas, Flow Script Controller, and with that, it's attached to this button. I'm now going to tell it to create a new script. When I do that, I'm just going to say bound here. And you can see, I'll make the window a little smaller. On the screen here is an empty canvas, very much like the blueprints in Unreal Engine and other ones. Now what you can do is you can drag and drop and create blocks and attach them to each other to write your code visually. So let's just say, for example, on a button here, when I click the button, I just want to log something, print something to the console, just to demonstrate how easy it is to do the code. So to do that, I'm just going to right click here and I can search for the event, right? So it's a button, and on the menu here on the screen, I've got button on click. I'm just going to click on that and I've got this sort of Unity event ready here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drag out from the on click here and it's going to make like this wire. And when I release, it's going to give me this pop up to select kind of the next visual block, the most sensible block. So I'm just going to do a log here. And it's going to show me, look, under these functions, log text. And at the bottom, there's some text that says log text in the console. I just click on that, and here's my 2 blocks, right? So now it's all hooked up. When I click on the button, log text. Up here in the corner, I can put in, and I can wire up variables, anything else. It's all completely visual scripting. But I'm just going to put in here, you hit the button, right? So it's just going to show some text. So with that, let's close the canvas. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to close the canvas because I want to show you something cool that really helps with the debugging on this. So we're going to rearrange the windows a little bit here. I'm going to run the game here in Unity, and I'm just resizing the window on the screen so you can see it. When I click on the button now, it's going to execute that script. But what's cool about this, firstly, if there was any problem with my script, it's going to highlight it in red in the FlowCanvas, the Flow script instance. But also when I click on it, it'll show me the flow of the code through the lines. So when I click, right, if you're watching the video, you can see there's a yellow line that shows me this is the code executing. And if I go over to the console, you can see that it says you hit the button. That's a very quick example of what this does. FlowCanvas, I'm writing my entire I got an idle game that I'm doing. I'm writing the entire thing with FlowCanvas. And I'm not kidding you. I have done in maybe a month what would normally take me a few months of having to write out all the script to hook everything up, send events around and everything else. if I wanted to also use conventional code, C# code in Unity, I can do that as well. I can mix the two. It's fine. I can call events. I can call functions. I can do everything between the two, just because the way it works. Under the hood, FlowCanvas is just a really big framework that does a lot of stuff for you. So that's number one. That's FlowCanvas. Number two is Editor Console Pro. Now, we have this console and it's fine in Unity, but it can get a lot better than this. So I have it installed here. I have Console Pro 3. I'm just going to pop it up, and it affords me an awful lot more opportunity to do things. I've got it up here on the screen. You can see that not only does it shows me the execution log for the code and various levels, it's basically got everything the console has, but kind of on steroids, right? I can highlight colors. I can set up all kinds of conditional things to really understand and highlight and focus on the areas that I want to focus on in the console without all the extra stuff going by that I just don't need to know about. And that's really what Console Pro is. It's, you can tell it, okay, show me the warnings, show me the errors and everything else. You can set those up. You can have specific colors to highlight things, all of this kind of extra information. And like I say, being able to see the execution log at the bottom as well is very useful. There I can look at all the code and see as it works through the system. A lot of cool stuff going on in there. So that's Editor Console Pro. This is, certainly optional. I would imagine for a lot of people. For me, like I say, I use this all the time instead of console. It's something you have to really use to appreciate it, but that's Console Pro. Now the next two are kind of very similar. They're made by the same people. I'm going to go back to my project here. Now, the hierarchy in Unity is all well and good, but it can get very busy very fast. And sometimes highlighting things and working with things can get very complicated. And two packages that I use are Rainbow Folders 2 and Rainbow Hierarchy 2. And what they allow me to do is to customize the way that I see those. So we're going to start with the hierarchy, right? I've got my canvas up here. And what I can do is, if I go along and I just Alt-click on the canvas or Option-click on the Mac, and it gives me these options here, right? I can select an icon from the library or any that I want to make them stand out differently. I can also set a background color, and I'm just doing that on the screen here on the video. And once I'm done, I can go apply, and you can see that it makes it stand out, right? I'll do the button as well. Let's do the button a different way. So I'll put a purple dot on there, and I'll highlight it in purple and go apply. There you go. So, that's a very, just a nice visual way for me to be able to highlight the areas that I need to focus on. For example, I kind of have a standard workflow where I make all of my canvases and UI stuff green, and I know this, like, okay, I can quickly look at the hierarchy and find it there. That is how it works in the hierarchy. And you may also notice, on the video here on the button, there's these three little squares here. That indicates my FlowCanvas, the previous package I spoke about. It just tells me that there's a FlowCanvas script attached to the button. Now, going over to the folders, it's kind of a similar thing for the folders, right? These folders in Unity, they're very kind of generic and don't really help you out that much. Some of them get icons that, help mean things, but isn't it great if you could customize them to what you want them to be? That is exactly what Rainbow Folders does. Again, I'm going to click, I've got this Text Mesh Pro one here. I'm just going to make another one, and I'm just going to create a folder here. Just give it some name. I'll call it my folder, right? And it's very generic, and you can have a lot of these built up very quickly. Well, again, if I just Alt or Option click on that folder, same deal as the hierarchy, right? I can go along, I can choose a different icon. I'm just going to choose this orange folder, and I can set a background. Let's go for green because we want to make this look really horrible, right? So, and again, there's filters and options and everything else. But once I do that, you can now see, if you watching the video, that I've got my folder here is an orange, and I've got an orange folder, and my folder name has got this green back into it. So those are two just sort of very easily visual identifiers. That's what I use those for. Just wanted to show you in this video and in this podcast the 4 packages that I absolutely install with every project. Sorry, if you're listening to the podcast or you're watching the video, in the show notes there will be links to each of these packages in the Unity store. I don't get anything for, I don't get paid for telling you about these. I genuinely use these on every project I work on. And kudos to the developers. Thank you so much for creating these packages. They're lifesavers. They really are. So with that, that's it. If this has been helpful, let me know. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, review, all the usual stuff. Leave it in the comments. What packages do you install every time? I'd love to know. I use a lot more packages than these, but like I say, these are the 4 that absolutely get installed every time. That's it. I will see you in the next one.